So, hello and welcome back to another playthrough of EU4. We finished the Barden playthrough with the Antebellum mod, and it's time to jump into a new mod, because Antebellum was alright, but basically just Vanilla Plus. But, a mod that I've actually been wanting to try for a long time. I think this is also a pretty old mod actually, but it's still getting updated. The third Odyssey. I guess you could call it an alternative history mod, where Byzantium just, well, fucks off to the new world. I guess that's basically it. A radical solution caused by a slow realization that both the East and the West were hostile to the Empire and wished only for its slow destruction. The Romans know their task is just as difficult as what their ancient forefathers faced. Yeah, basically, this is the whole narrative, right? Byzantium fucks off to the New World and starts a world there. There's also technically these two nations. The Norse nations that could have been formed or something like that. But we are gonna, of course, play the main character of this mod and see where this brings us. I have barely anything about, like, I did of course take a look at how things work, but I have not played anything. I have not really taken a look at the mission tree or anything. This is as always gonna be me just looking what work, or like how things work out. This was also suggested by someone in my Discord. I also, there's one thing, I do not own the DLC that gives them a better mission tree. That's the only DLC that I do not own, so I'm not sure if this is a problem. We'll see. It didn't look like a problem when I tested it. Anyway, Byzantium, the last remnant of the Eastern Roman Empire, and heir to the over 2,000 of years of Roman history and culture, is finally breathing its last breath. Surrounded on all sides by the Ottoman Turkish menace and all but abandoned by the Western powers, it would take a true miracle to save the last vestiges of Rome from destruction. I think that's all just, yeah, random stuff. There we go. The Emperor of Rome looks upon on his realm and despairs. To the east lie the lands of the hostile Turks, successors to the Arabs that battered Anatolia in times long past. To the west lie the Serbs and Hungarians, eager to carve out the piece of a dying empire and expand their own dominion. The Varna Crusaders have been butchered. The legions of Rome once conquered a known world, but that was long ago. A lesser man might quail at these truths, but Ioannis and his brother Konstantinos are not lesser men. While delving into the depths of the Imperial Library for anything that might deliver them from destruction, the brothers located a hidden cage of information left behind by the exalted former emperor, Alexios Komnenos. The cage contained the detailed schematics of Tromons retrofitted with the deep-sea capabilities of the ancient Roman vessels that plied the treacherous seas between the coasts of Hispania and the lands of the Celts in ages past, and was intended for a trading expedition to Varangian Vinland that never materialized. With them, the two brothers were able to scheme up a plan that hastily retrofit the remnants of the Imperial Navy to the designs, reinforced with modern construction techniques, and flee west in a new Odyssey, just as Aeneas fled Troy 3,000 years ago. The other three brothers will have to stay behind. So, we get the Roman flights. We cannot declare war, we get unrest, subcost, manpower, sailor, mercenary cost goes up, the population goes down, we get a heavy amount of fort mains reduction, I guess that's nice. And our leader is basically, with the preparations for the flight in full swing, Ioannis the 8th is no longer able to focus on his duties as a ruler, so he just loses all of his stats. And release Athens from being our vassal. Okay. I think we're gonna just get a bunch of events and then the thingy happens. Alright, the Emperor has been approached by his close confidant, Georgios Sphrontes, who argues that we should take with us that which made us respected in ages past, our learning. The most important books and scrolls, including the manuscripts detailing the construction process for truly ocean-worthy vessels, should be collected into a library, given a place on the fleet. In addition, a skilled German engineer named Johannes Grant was able to recreate a small amount of quick fire, based on scrolls stored in a hidden cage in the Imperial Library, and he's requesting that spaces on the fleet will be allotted to storing the substance and ingredients used to make it. Such endeavors would be expensive and cost precious space, but they might be worth it. We will see. So we do get these two guys as advisors. Half cost. A quarter cost, even. Wait, it said German. This guy's Austrian. What's going on here? I'm not liking this. Alright, I guess we need to let the game run, but I think we are literally not doing anything at the moment. We're just gonna wait for all of this to pop up. Our guy is, yeah, has no stats. You are, okay. There we go. The Silk of the Empire. The Emperor's cousin, Theopilos Palaiologos, yeah. Mathematician, grammarist, and second in line for the throne, behind Emperor's brother Constantinos, has requested that the vast silk reserve of the Roman Empire and the resources required to produce it be collected in our westbound fleet. Silk, he says, has long been the garment of royalty and empire, and would make a fine luxury trade good as well. Such extravagance would cost us precious space though, and we may need all the people and supplies we can get. At the very least, he requests that if we do not take the silk along, that we instead destroy it to prevent the Ottoman Sultanate from discovering its production methods. Wait, this guy just replaces this guy. Oh. The fate of the Maranian despotate. One final question remains in regards to our holdings. While we were resigned to Constantinople falling to the Turks, we can still decide the fate of our southern holdings. The Republic of Venice is attempting to build an empire in the eastern Mediterranean, and they would be grateful for a hold over the strong defensive position of the southern highlands. A delegation from the Republic of Genoa, headed by a certain Archbishop, Leonard of Chios, has expressed a desire to increase the economic penetration of the Aegean Sea and Black Sea, something that could easily be accomplished by selling the territory to Genoa. Finally, we could grant direct independence to the Mauryan Despotate under the leadership of the Emperor's brother, Theodoros. So we could sell them to Venice, gain a ship and supplies in the form of a light ship, and development upon landing. Okay. The rest of the stuff doesn't matter. When we tell it to Genoa, we gain troops and arms, increasing our starting manpower, troop count, and army quality upon landing. Alright. And when we grant them independence, we just get a stability and money. Do we care about this stability? I mean, I guess stability doesn't hurt. Free development also doesn't hurt. I think if we grant them independence, they're just gonna get... I mean, either way, I guess we... maybe we will have to return at some point. That's why they're asking us these questions as well. Starting manpower and troop count and army quality. I mean, that's nice, but are we gonna really have a struggle against the natives? We have 3-3-3. I like development, but maybe getting a stability right away. You know what? Let's grant them independence. The Venetian captains. A pair of Venetian captains who sold their vessels for usage on the journey have recently approached the Emperor and his advisor, stating that to cross the Atlantic Ocean, the Romans would need more than just a fleet of galleasses and small caravels. One of the merchant captains, Gabriel Trevisano, has requested a portion of our rapidly dwindling treasury be set aside to purchase the latest in Italian and Portuguese ship design to replace the less seaworthy ships in the Roman Navy, as well as to hire an expert Mediterranean navigators and sailors and to retrofit our older designs with modern weapons. If we go along with that... This guy... Oh no, wait, these guys telling us that these guys would join our court if we do this. There we go. The final checklist. We've gone through all the plans and looked over every option available to us. Now is the time to finalize our decision and choose how much of our limited space we should devote to non-essentials. So, we have plentiful supplies. We could take the Greek fire with us, which would give us a powerful siege-enabled weapon that hasn't been seen in centuries. If left behind, the last defenders of the city will arm themselves with it. We would gain more money. I think that says it with everything. Yeah, taking less supplies will, among other things, reduce our starting treasury by 75. Okay, so we would have less money. This one would give us a permanent modifier that improves our ships and increases our fort defense. Okay. Load up books and scrolls. Well, works on shipbuilding, administration, military tactics and siegecraft, politics, history, economics, religion and philosophy, everything needed to build an empire. Would give us a deer cost reduction. The Silk would just give us trade efficiency, and the Venetian captain would give us an additional escort ship with experts, merchants and citizens who will certainly come in handy when we reach our destination. This seems the least interesting of these. I feel like these three are all good because those are permanent modifiers and those are always good. But if we take all three of them, we have scarce resources. Is that too much? Is that troublesome? I mean, I do like permanent. I think I'm gonna risk it. I mean, if we do this, we're gonna be abysmal. We're not gonna do that. Yeah, screw it. We're gonna try this. If it troubles, whatever. An Ottoman prince born here in exile after his grandfather's defeat in a failed attempt for the Ottoman throne has heard of our plans to quit the City of Worlds, Desire and sail to Vinland. The man, Orhan Shalabi, has never returned to the Empire on the implied threat of execution for his grandfather's crimes. Needless to say, he fears such a punishment at the hands of his cousin, Mehmet, and has requested that a ship be allocated to him in his regiment of retainers. In return, he promises to train the Roman army such as it is, in the advanced tactics of the Fiat Janissary Corps. I hate this word. C-O-R-P-S, and it's pronounced core. What the fuck? And also offers his service as a general in our employment. In addition, a former Ottoman officer named Gergi Gastiotti, called Skanderbeg, has rebelled from Turkish servers and has traveled to the city in search of support. He has also heard of our impending flight and requests that some of his people be allowed on board. Unfortunately, there's only enough space left on our transport for one group, either Skanderbeg or Han Celebi. Must stay behind in the Doom City. Both men have promised to not share our plans to our enemies, come what may. So we could get Skanderbeg, which gives us a general. Orhan will, with nothing left to lose, will take control of Constantinople and make a bid for the Turkish throne. Or we get this guy, which is just a quarter cost advisors. I think having a general is probably more valuable, so sure, Skanderbeg, and I like Skanderbeg, so there we go. Okay, so basically now if we've started with the fleet, okay. Hearing of the approach of our fleet, a large Granadan force drew up near the gates of Heracles to force us to pay for safe passage. Enticed by the promise of loot, a contingent from Morocco also sailed in support of the Granadan fleet. We could pay the toll, or we could force a raid with a sea battle. We might still take losses, but the Roman navy is still one of the best in the Mediterranean. We have the Greek fire. Or we could just pay. I mean, what's money gonna really be used in the New World? I mean, we'll see. I would just pay. I don't want to deplete our Greek fire. I took it with me because I wanted all of it. We have finally passed through the Pillars of Heracles and have reached the Atlantic Ocean. However, before we can sail through the unknown ocean, we have stopped at Lisbon to stock up on supplies. Most of our fleet is currently waiting off the coast of southern Portugal. It seems the Portuguese are under the impression that Theophilos is leading an expedition, and that word has not spread to Western Europe as abandoning Constantinople. As a result, the Portuguese regent Infante Pedro has summoned Theophilos, I assume, for a meeting and wants to make a deal with us. In exchange for information and maps of our discoveries, they offer to finance and supply our expedition. Our trusted advisors have proposed two different responses. One is to tell the truth to the Portuguese king and inform him that this is not an expedition but us abandoning Constantinople in search of this Vinland, with no intention of returning to Europe. The other is to lie to Infante Pedro. Let the Portuguese keep the idea that this is merely an expedition and that we intend to return in due time. In the Vinlandic records we also found a map that leads to a place called Greenland, a land of nothing but ice. If we give them this map and tell them this is our destination, pretending it is Finland, then should the Portuguese follow after us, they'll find nothing. And they'll believe that there is nothing out there but a cold demise awaiting them, hopefully dissuading them and the rest of Europe from following us. If we tell them, we just get money and opinion. I guess it would be healthy to tell them that we are just failing. I mean, hopefully dissuading them and the rest of Europe from following us. I am worried that when we do this and they actually do show up, that we're gonna get like some opinion penalty or something, or rather that they are gonna be hostile towards us. Let's just tell them. Screw it. The citizen reopens. It was a controversial thing in the Basilian Ermion that the Latin-sponsored Council of Florence had succeeded and convinced the Basilius to accept the primacy of the Pope in Rome. Not all, almost, or even many were accepting of the logic of bowing to the Latins to avoid destruction by the Turks. It was not accepted in Russia or by the general populace, and was only very reluctantly accepted by the Romans themselves. As Lucas Notadas, commander of the fleet, said it, better the Turkish turban than the Latin mitre. Now, however, there is no more cause for pretense, as the Romans have passed beyond the power of those in the east and the west. Basilius VIII has the minute the Portuguese course was out of sight, probably repudiated the Council of Florence. Okay, we're gonna turn Eastern Orthodox. Sure. Trade League. A storm approaches. For several weeks we've had calm seas and good sailing. Sadly, all good things must end, and we've encountered a large storm that has swarmed our fleet. Our only refuge was a relatively calm section in the eye of the storm, and we were able to use that what little time we had available to us to regroup the fleet and prepare it to brave the rest of the storm. It's a lot of reading, sorry. Thanks to the masterful seamanship of our captains, we were able to safely escape the rest of the storm. Taking stock of our situation afterwards, we discovered that in addition to the Emperor falling ill, several ships and their captains could not be accounted for. Notably, Admiral Lucas Notadas is missing alongside the ship he was aboard. What's worse about this is that when the storm hit, the Admiral was on the royal ship. As luck would have it, the royal family is not actually on the ship, as Konstantinos decided to brave the storm on our flagship, Agia Theotoke. The ship is still lost most of the royal advisors, including Georgios Francis, councillors and other royal staff. Loss of these will impact our ability to govern when or if we reach our destination. So we would have bad stats, or lose a settler ship and the corresponding base and tax and manpower. It is worth. Let's take this. Oh. After surviving the Great Storm, a number of crew throughout the fleet became stricken with severe tuberculosis. Despite the best effort of our greatest physicians, Emperor Janus VIII also fell victim to the disease. While some say that it is just an unfortunate strategy, others say that it is divine punishment for fleeing Constantinople in its darkest hour. Regardless, Janus VIII's brother Konstantinos has been crowned emperor and will finish what his brother started. So basically we just switch things out. Okay. Jesus Christ, could you give me a second? There we go. So, do we see? Yes, we do see what we have. Alright. It took a while to get to this point. Despite everything, the toil, the hardships and the storms, the battles with the Moors, the desperate flight from the city, we have done it. We have ventured beyond the pillars of Heracles and lived to tell the tale. The western strands of our ancient Varangian bodyguards are verdant and green, and so we have given this land the name Elysium, after the ancient paradise afterlife. But heavy lies the head that wears the crown, every piece of technology, every spear, sword and shield, every cuirass, helm and hauberk, every bow and every arquebus, every cannon, every book, scroll and treatise, every roll of silk or linen, every flag that flies proudly and proclaims to the world that the empire of the Romans is not yet dead. It is one less man or woman, or bushel of wheat, or barrel of supply. Get it. It is one less life saved from the Turkish dominion. Even now, the last offenders of the empire must be making some doomed last stand at the Hagia Sophia. Swords flashing in fearless defiance at their fate for an hour longer until they are overcome. Mehmed must be smiling as he gives the order to loot the queen of cities and sell those men and women left behind to a life of slavery. Strange barbarian men on the beach have fled at our approach, but we have bigger concerns than fighting a few men, who evidently have no plans to attack us. We must acquire good fields to set up farms in, iron mines to forge weapons from, quarries to mine stone from, and land to expand our dominion over. We must build here in Elysium something greater than we could have built in prostration to the Sultan. So, flagship. While the supplies we brought along were lacking, we managed to persevere thanks to the iron hearts of our quartermasters who insisted upon strict rationing. While somewhat malnourished, our people are already hard at work establishing our first settlement. We gain 1 additional base tax and a lack of supplies modifier. The populace might be somewhat disheartened, but our commander still managed to assemble a small militia. We gained 2 regiments and 2,000 men. Sadly, we lost the sight of a part of our flotilla during the storm, including this large supply ship. We lose 1 base tax and manpower. All things considered, our flight has left our already declining nation a shadow of our former self. We gain the modifier no merchant class, constrained resources, and manpower shortage. We gain Skanderbeg, and which also gives us a base tax, production, and manpower, and the province modifier Albanian quarter. In 3 days we have the first contact happening. Alright, let's take a look at everything. We are here. We have 2 dudes, we have Skanderbeg, we have this ship. What do we have? A pure flagship, which gives movement speed and fleet attrition, flagship maintenance, port to our sister, we cannot deny its design was not made for war. Okay, so it's also shit, good to know. Tech is already the same. We have, of course, you in charge, and you to follow after. So, what the fuck are we? So, we are exiled. We have attack cost penalty, institutional and carry info ratio. Our exile has sadly separated us from most of the knowledge we once held. This has slowed our technological progress. To remove this modifier, one of the following must be true. There's 2 missions to fix that. There's other missions that fix that. Or embrace manufactories. Sure. That's gonna take a hot second. Stranded religion. Stab cost, missionary, tolerance to true faith, missionary, patriarch, authority. The church is weak and disorganized, separated from the religious institution of the old world. We need to reform the clergy of our faith. Okay. Religious reform. Reform the clergy has to be enacted by any stranded Orthodox nation to improve this modifier. Okay. Religious reform. Reform the clergy. Is that a decision? Oh yeah, there. Well, we'll see with that. Let's continue on here. We have no merchant class. This one doesn't have any kind of condition to get removed. Constrained resources, which reduces our colonial range. I guess that's not that bad. We're unable to move too far from our territory to expand because of the lack of roads, supply ships, and adequate organization of our long-range expansionary efforts. This translates to practical inability to supply island colonies or territories not immediately connected to our own. If you can somehow find the strength and declare that okay, yeah, sure. Manpower shortage. Holy shit, that's a modifier. Our manpower gets completely annihilated, our maintenance gets up, our force limit goes down, cavalry is more expensive, mercenary, yeah, we're gonna just go for infantry. Reduces native integration and cultural assimilation speed by 25%. When we complete a true nation, this goes away. This will also apply to any subject nation. And we have a special technology group called Exiled Romans. And they cannot colonize when this is active. We have the Greek fire, completely there. We have the books of knowledge, we have the silk production, and lack of supplies. This one sticks around for 30 years. This looks rather heavy. This is what we got because we didn't get the decent supplies. Okay. What is this? What's this here? Actually, let's start here. Exiled Empire. The Roman Empire is ruled almost exclusively by its emperor. He keeps the country together by sheer willpower, if he is sufficiently capable. Ruling in a new land with little infrastructure and a lot of wilderness does not bode well for this type of government. So, yeah, this is active. Overburdened administration is a government mechanic. Disables the march. Can summon militia to bolster our military forces. We get a stab cost increase, maximum culture, and expand infrastructure. Okay. We have this stuff here. Administrative burden is increased by the following. When we recruit a regiment, when we recruit a leader, when we hire a mercenary company, when we build a ship, when we construction. With colonization, being at war, overextension, disloyal subjects, diplomatic annexation. It gets reduced by the following. Stability, high state loyalty. Cool. We don't have that. Dinatoy land rights privilege. Control over monetary policy privilege. We don't have estates. Interesting. So, there's a few ways we can deal with this. We could spend something to reduce it straight away. We can empower the estates. And as long as it's active, we cannot seize lands. We can grant autonomy to frontier, which gives minimum autonomy. Raise emergency tax, which increases but we get a bunch of money. Expand the draft, which once again we could get manpower. Oh, and the more provinces with Roman culture we have, the better these ones are. Okay, and bolster the colonial office. This one just goes, let's settle on Greece. So what does administrative burden do? Yeah, we need to have it below 30 to reform something. If administrative burden is below 5, we get the following. Our extension impact modifier. Okay, our extension feels like the least of our problems. So. Construction time, reinforced speed, autonomy, admin efficiency, colony cost. Okay, so we do want it low if we want to really colonize. We will see how we're gonna do with diplomacy. What's next on the list? We make a bit of money, but definitely not enough. I mean, we do not have a colonist yet. Do we actually see a trade node here? Yes, so this one is this is where we collect from. Good. You transfer here, good. Let's keep that in check. Tech is same. Idea group, naval maintenance, and we discover stuff on our side. We'll see what the rest brings. But for now we do other stuff. So we could reform the clergy. We need at least 15 cities or 150 development. Okay, so this is a while. This all of the other stuff we can do. Summon the militias, just giving us a heavy penalty, but we get troops. Okay. We are Eastern Orthodoxy, step cost and tolerance of the true faith. Patriarch authority. We can consecrate. Because we're stranded religion, we just get this reduced anyway. It doesn't, I mean, it would give us a bunch of manpower. We also don't have an icon really that we can pick at the moment. While we have items selected, this goes down slowly. We can have a few more dudes, but we do have a bunch of penalties here. I wonder if this is worth it. Oh, 50 per... Oh, hoo. That is... Okay, yeah. That is heavy. Alright, let's take a look at the mission tree. Expand our lands. This province are owned by us. That's about it. 10k troops. 1450, developer of 200, one of my Pedro, the years, Okay, this revokes the merge class penalty. This I didn't even take a look. You have Albanian quarters. Okay. Mild wind, attrition for enemies. We don't have scent of trade here. Okay. Lack of supplies reduces that production efficiency completely. What is this? Tribal development. There's a total of 3 tribal development in the province. Tribal development represents a portion of the province's total development that consists of native population. Attacking natives in the province will remove this development, cause it to move elsewhere. For each development lost, the owner gains 10 gold. After colonization, the culture of the province will remain important if the native population remains at or above 1,000. Interesting. The native population of the province will emigrate if the following conditions are true. Does not have native or reformed native government, one of them must be true, has council estate with less than 30 loyalty, does not have council estate and has less. 100% native uprising chance modifier. Okay, we don't have currently a colonist at all, so... we need 2 cities for taming the land. Secure the bay, and this is so we can currently not really do anything. We cannot do this is irrelevant. I do not really want to spend money on this. I guess what we can do is try to get our dudes in. You guys surely have more numbers than I do. I don't have a reason to attack you. Could I spy on you and just make a claim? And subjugate you? I mean, it does say, one of these did say, one of them must be true is a subject of Romania. Doesn't have a migrant nation, like a supplies or breakdown of society modifiers. Well, I'm not sure. At the moment it feels like I'm just, okay. we're just gonna let this run and see what happens. The scouts have returned to the fortified landing camp with a barbarian. The foreigner bore a Barondane axe and was dressed in a long coat of mail. Were it not for his dark eyes and ruddy skin, one would almost believe him Varangian. His tongue was oddly incomprehensible and matched no language spoken in Europe, but he switched to something almost familiar. A trader who spoke Danish, swept along in the fleet by chance after he returned home from the cold north, was brought in to translate, and a dialogue was established after several false starts. He claimed that many tribes competed for resources, for land, for wealth and honor in this land, that he stood as the half-guard for his own chieftain. He claimed that the largest of these tribes bore a carrion bird on their banner and were fierce warriors. What is the tribe called? He finally asked us. We are the Empire of the Romans. We get opinion bonuses. They get an event. We will not be able to use a military rival card spell until we complete Roman diplomacy mission. Okay. We're also gonna end this episode here. There is probably a lot more events to read from, but we'll see about that. But like always, like to write more shenanigans, I guess see you guys next episode. Bye!